you ever feel like you are in the season of shedding? Maybe you're like a snake and you're maybe getting new skin, where everything that once felt so right, habits, relationship, and even maybe parts of you, they're suddenly starting to feel a little bit misaligned or forced. It's like your soul is calling for a reset, but you're not sure what to do. Here's the thing. Self-renewal isn't just about stepping into the new version of ourselves. It's really about fully feeling and processing, releasing what no longer serves us right here in this moment. And if we try to skip this phase or step, numb the discomfort, we actually end up carrying that old energy into that next chapter and oftentimes find ourselves repeating that exact same cycle. So, today we are going to talk about the critical phase of self renewal, why it is your non negotiable, and of course, the science behind the transformation and how we can really move through it without the spiritual bypassing or any bypassing if we can. Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode, another Mindful Monday. That's right. I am your host, your girl, the one and only Arika Trimnell, also known as the Mindful Mistress. I'm here to offer you up some unique insights so that we can grow spiritually, personally, professionally, allowing us or giving us a space to embrace every aspect of our journey and break free of any prisms of limitation. So right now, I got to be honest with you, but I definitely feel, and I feel like a lot of other people feel like this too, where we're like in an incubation period, a space where you're shedding the old you, maybe recalibrating, making room for what's next in your life. And trust me, it has not been easy. I have felt every emotion, every pain, every bump that is coming with shedding this skin right here. But perhaps in learning to sit with this particular phase, it will help us enjoy the next phase and be able to move forward. You know, if you did the soul blueprint meditation, this is actually what we ask for is to better align with our soul's blueprint and our vision of the future. So for those of us who are going through a very trying time where things just don't feel like they're fitting right, or maybe we don't feel like we're even fitting in right now, know that this is part of the process. This is okay. We just need to learn how to move through it so that we can fully enjoy our new selves on the other side. This is a critical part and not something that we should just rush through or bypass, although I know it's so hard. Trust me, I ate my feelings in a hamburger and some ice cream yesterday. So I know exactly what you're feeling. So we're going to talk about this like in between phase of our self renewal journey. So maybe you're not sure even if you're in this, right? Maybe you feel a little bit of the hesitation or you feel little bit of the pull. This transition, like all changes, happen very subtly at first and then some huge shifts to happen. So maybe you feel it in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. There are definitely signs that point us in the direction that this is the phase, that in between, that kind of purgatory phase. Physical signs could be like maybe you're feeling more tired, more restless than usual. Your body is your your first messenger and teacher. It tells us when things are going a certain way, and when we learn our body's response, when we have that aspect where we're able to communicate with our bodies, we're able to start anticipating and start preparing better for these things. Maybe you sense emotions or you've got heart palpitations. Maybe there's some changes in your appetite. Or maybe you're feeling like you don't want to eat altogether. These are all signs, physical signs that you could be in that in between stage where we are involved and we're in that incubation, or if you are that caterpillar that it's in the cocoon ready to be a butterfly, something else, maybe sensitive to environment or certain people. This could be just your energy is trying to recalibrate itself. Now, how this shows up on us emotionally, it could be sudden waves of just immense sadness or nostalgia or grief, or it could even be apathy. You could be feeling maybe irritable or impatient, feeling like you're ready for this change. You know something new is about to happen. You want it right here and right now. But there is also this part of you that feels stuck in the old. So there could be some emotional changes, some emotional triggers that we are sensing. Now, we can't forget that there also is a lot of planetary energy going on right now. So this also will impact our emotions and physical sensations as well. From an emotional standpoint, you could be feeling maybe a pulling towards being more solitude, being by yourself, wanting to close yourself off. So that gives you time maybe to do those meditations or do some breath work or just get more centered and grounded because you feel there's this uncertainty, there's this cloud, maybe this fog that's surrounding you right now, and you can't see through it. And so you want to anchor to your spiritual center so that you can lean on your intuition when you can't see what's going on outward. You might be feeling that there is a deep, deep, deep desire to let go. Maybe just say, forget everything, and I'm just going to pack up and move somewhere else. These are all signs and symptoms that you could be in that in between phase of your own self renewal process. Now, it's okay too if you can't pinpoint any one of the few symptoms that I talked about. You could be experiencing a variety of symptoms, several all at once. Your incubation period is different than somebody else's. But so just maybe take this time and be mindful of the things that you are feeling and take note of that because you will start to see signs when you go through another renewal. Because come on, we are like nature. We are going to go through another cycle. It is definitely going to happen to us. But if you already have your list of how you felt during the first self renewal, then you can compare that when that happens to go again, and you'll get insight and know what you are going through. So, this self renewal is really not just a spiritual process, but it is deeply connected to the neuroscience and energy of psychology. It's no surprise that one, we are going through the process of turning winter into spring. And so, during a transformation, your brain has a hard time sometimes of letting go of those old habits, old relationships, old versions of ourselves that no longer support us because the part of our brain, our amygdala that's wired for safety and perceives fear and loss, it's that's this struggle. So where it still wants to hold on to that because it's like, no, if we let go of this sign or if we let go of these old familiar ways, doubt can creep in and then fear could happen and something terrible could go away. So from the science perspective, the neurology of it is what can make this transition or pull seem really difficult. On the other hand, you know, or I guess to say at the same time, we have our prefrontal cortex of our brain, which is responsible for our critical thinking. It's online when we are making our decisions and when we are self-actualized, have that self-awareness. It is the one that is starting to rewire neural pathways. And this process is the neuroplasticity of our brain. And it's how we're able to create lasting change. So it's doing this rewiring at the same time you've got your amygdala who wants to hold on to old habits. And so, if we don't fully process and release the emotions that are tied to the old patterns and habits, they will likely follow us into our new reality, to the new chapter. And we're going to have to fight those battles all again. And this oftentimes is where we start to see that spiritual bypassing trap kind of come and get a lot of us where we're like, oh, okay, I know the spiritual tools to use, and I'm just going to use this, and I'm not going to sit in what I'm feeling right now, and I'm not going to hold space for it. So, if you have done some deep visioning work, like the blueprint meditation that we did at the beginning of this year, and you are connected and centered to your future self and the reality and the energy that that holds, it's your highest potential. But just because you've seen it, just because you felt it, doesn't mean that you immediately are ready to receive that and embody that. So your body has to go through a process. So before you step into that version of yourself, you have to be, well, I won't say you have to, but I invite you to clear out old wounds, old stagnant energy, old limiting beliefs, and any unfinished emotional cycles that you have been trapped in. Because again, if you skip these steps, you end up manifesting that new reality, but with those same patterns that then could take you back to where you were. So thinking of, getting into a new relationship, if you haven't done the work from the previous relationship, you could end up carrying old things from the old relationship into the new relationship. So it's the same thing with ourselves in our self-renewal. So if you feel maybe a little bit off after stepping into a new opportunity, it could be because there is still some work that needs to be done. It also could be that it's a limiting belief, or there could be some childhood trauma that is creeping up there. So the most authentic way to really step into the next level is really just moving through it. We cannot bypass it. The best way to move forward, I say, is to move through it. And unfortunately, there are some common challenges in moving through it. One, because it's just wildly uncomfortable, right? Can we just say that? When we think about roadblocks, especially emotional roadblocks, a lot of us were not taught how to deal with our emotions. So when we have these negative emotions where we were taught to not even show them, then we struggle with even holding space for them. So this could be like the fear of an unknown, where your mind might try to convince you to hold on to the things that you are familiar with just because it feels good. And the real transformation, though, requires us to let that go. It requires us to lean into that uncomfortableness. And how we can navigate that is not resisting uncertainty, but programming our body, whether it's through tapping, whether it's through grounding in this incubation time, finding the tools that help us ground to ourselves and help us really calm our nervous system. Breath work is a really good thing. Meditation, of course. I really love doing somatics. Maybe some wall pushes could be something that is a beautiful thing for you to utilize to program that you are safe, even though you're making a change that your body deems as scary. The other thing is that grief, allowing yourself to release that fear, allow yourself to no longer have that emotional attachment. You might grieve that relationship. You might grieve that former person who you were. The comfort of that familiarity is something to be grieved, and that is okay to grieve that. It is a loss, and we all experience loss in different ways, and it's a body's natural reaction. I talked about that, and I think 2 episodes when I was talking about grief. So some practices you can have are maybe writing a letter to yourself, and you burn it. You let it go as a way to process that grief. Maybe you're taking it in, taking what you do want and then burying that as a way to call in what you want and fill the space, fill the void. Because oftentimes we urgently try to fill that void of, oh my gosh, I just let this stuff go and I feel nice and light. But then at the same time, I also feel empty. Like, what is this about? So many people try to rush and fill that in. And oftentimes we fill that in with some maybe old coping tools that aren't the best situation, or a new relationship really quick, or another project to avoid that discomfort. But it's about sitting in it, sitting with it, and resisting that urge to just go in and fix it, resisting that urge to just fill that empty space. And so this is where deep clarity can be found. And when you start just really realizing how you react to these particular situations. So, also thinking about processing and releasing those emotions to really help that renewal. What you are doing is really transmuting. So, you are being the alchemist, which we all have the capability to be, to process your emotions, taking them from one state, or even one blockage in the body, and moving through your body to release them, taking it from a state of anxiety or a physical symptom to the creativity that you need for that next project. So when we don't process our emotion, they get trapped in our body as energetic blockages, and that looks like stress, that looks like anxiety, that looks like heart palpitations, that looks like uh, physical symptoms or ailments, and then sometimes can present as something more serious. So again, working through that, whether it's journaling, meditation, those are those are good things, but finding a way to really help you move that energy. What is good for you? Again, I'm a huge proponent of somatics. I love somatics because our body sends more information to our brains and our brains and our body. So one of the things you could do, primal release. That's such a good example. Screaming into nature, my backyard, screaming into my backyard. Come on over, scream into my backyard. Um, Screaming into a pillow, grounding, making that guttural, deep sound where you feel it coming from, where you feel that pain resonating. that's a really good way. Screaming into a void, which is a beautiful thing that you can do. Also, do some rage work, whether you're going to a rage room or you have some old appliances, right? Because they're constantly breaking anyways. So why not have a safe space and maybe you are you're breaking them down, you're destroying them. And maybe those are the things that you want to get rid of, right? You label them and then start breaking them in a safe place. Maybe they're old plates too, opa, to help as a ritual to release that release that stagnant energy. Going into kickboxing, punching a heavy punching bag, grunting, growling, these are all great things that you can do. Those primal, those deep seated wounds that can be released through sound. Again, using vibration to help you using your body, some somatic work, doing an energetic, even cord cutting could be a really good way for you to move through those particular emotions. For those of you who like to do visuals, of course, a meditation, imagine yourself maybe doing the cord cutting instead of doing an actual cord cutting. Or burning, doing the candles, and you put the ropes, and so you burn the ropes that are tied to them. If it's thinking about relationship from that. Some dry brushing is another good way. Of course, laughter therapy, because laughter is good for the soul. And even if you're not in that laughter moment, you can laugh so much that then you actually start really laughing. You fake laugh, and then trust me, you try fake laughing. Maybe not now, maybe later. Like I'm about to laugh, and then you start laughing. So, in integrating these types of things when you're in this phase, so once you've moved through the emotions, and good, it might be a range of emotions that you need to move through. It might be several of these practices that you need to do so that you can move through all of the different emotions. Now, once you do this, it's so important to be able to reaffirm your boundaries. Now that you've cleared out the old, you need to protect space, protect the person you are becoming. And one of the ways that can help you is as you visualize the next level of you, what are all the things that you need, whether that's physical, emotional, safety? What are the needs? Physical needs, personal needs. Think about the person you're becoming so that you know how to design boundaries that, protect your time, protect your energy. Of course, leaning into that divine timing. So just because you are ready doesn't mean that everything that we did on our soul blueprint is just going to rush right in. Things flow when they're ready to flow and when we've opened up or have done some co-creation with that energy. So this self-renewal isn't about escaping. We aren't bypassing here. We aren't escaping the old self. We're done with that, right? We're done with 2024. It's really about your ability to honor the past and step into your future. But to do that, you have to honor the present moment. You have to honor this kind of purgatory or lull, if you will, that in between uncomfortable space, because it's where this space lies, that in this phase is really what sets us up for success in that next space. So I hope that this was helpful. Drop a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are, what resonate with you, what are you releasing, and if there's anything that I can do to help, please, I am here so that we all can grow together. Of course, you got to hit the subscribe and like and all the things. Share with your friends. Thank you for being with me for this Mindful Monday. Next time, beautiful soul, stay open, stay aligned, and as a reminder, elevate your vibrations and transform your life. Bye.